Good morning. It's Monday, July 10th, and tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, the baseball All-Star game will be played. I'm not planning to watch it. I used to be a big baseball fan when I was a kid, but I don't watch baseball much anymore. Although I am a loyal Yankee fan, and I tape their games, and I watch them on tape because I can't stand all the commercials and everything, and I skip through a lot of parts of the game, so I could spend maybe an hour watching a taped baseball game as opposed to the 3 hours that it normally takes. So I'm talking to you today because the All-Star game is tomorrow night, and because I read an article about Lew Gehrig, great first baseman, played for the Yankees in the 20s and the 30s. And he's known for having died of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. He's the only ball player that I know of that has a disease named after him, because when they talk about ALS, they refer to it as Lew Gehrig's disease. Lew Gehrig grew up in New York City, and he was a great athlete as a kid, and his mother and father were immigrants. His mother came from Germany, and I'm not sure where his father came. But they were hard-working people, always living on the edge of poverty. His mother was a cleaning woman, and his father did odd jobs to keep themselves alive. And Lew was this great ball player, high school all-star. Not at baseball, at football. He was a fullback for Commerce High School. And he got all kinds of scholarship offers for that, to play football. So he wasn't interested in playing baseball much. In fact, though, when he started to play, he was very, very good. And he had a tryout with the New York Giants. And his father had bought him a baseball glove for a right-handed player, but Lew Gehrig was left-handed. Somehow or other, he managed to figure out how to use that glove. And yeah, he went to a baseball tryout for the Giants, and somebody hit a ground ball toward him at first base, and it went through his legs. And John McGraw, the nasty old manager of the New York Giants, said, "Get that guy off the field. I got enough bums around here already." And so that was the end of Lew Gehrig's tryout at the Giants. So he went off to Columbia University on a football scholarship. And he was there, and he was doing very well as a football player. And he played some baseball for them, too. And apparently, the Yankees came calling. And Lew Gehrig's mom was very upset because she wanted her son to finish college. She wanted him to be an engineer or some professional with a degree. But Lew, who during his college career playing baseball, also played for some minor league teams to make some money because the family was very poor. And he wasn't allowed to do that. Under the amateur athletic codes of the times, you couldn't make money playing a sport and then go and play it for your college. That was a no-no. However, when Columbia found out about it, they suspended him for a season or something like that and made up some kind of excuse, and he stayed on the roster. But the Yankees came calling when he was a sophomore, and he told his mom that he was going to sign his contract with the Yankees. She was very upset. But he signed with the Yankees for the grand total of $1,500. And he said, "You have to put food on the table. We need money to live." That was what he said. So he went off to play baseball. And we all know that he became a great baseball player. And he's probably more well known for his consecutive game playing streak than he is for a lot of his other accomplishments on the baseball field. Because he was the first guy that played in 130 consecutive games. And that's a monumental streak, although it was broken recently by a ball player. But not by much, but more than 2,130 games. And I give that guy credit. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he did that. But Gehrig and Ruth in their 20s were the best tandem in baseball. And in 1927, when Babe Ruth hit his 60 home runs to set the record that was finally broken by Roger Maris, and then that was broken by Barry Bonds and a bunch of other guys, right? In that season, Lew Gehrig batted .373. We don't have ball players who bat .373 anymore. You're lucky if a guy can hit .300. I bet you there's not more than 10 .300 hitters in the game today. So he batted .373. And he had 173 runs batted in. And in those days, they played 154 games. So he averaged more than 1 run batted in per game for the whole season. And he had 47 home runs. And he was the most valuable player in 1927. Not Babe Ruth with his 60 home runs. But the game has changed so much since then that it's become boring. It's a boring sport. And I love my Yankees, and I'm going to stick with them. But Lew Gehrig was an example of what was going on in the 30s, in the 20s and 30s, with immigration and poor people. And his mom was a firm believer in him getting his education. She didn't believe in the sports and everything. But he said, I have to put food on the table. We need this money. And so he signed this contract with the Yankees, and he didn't play right away because the Yankees had a first baseman called Wally Pipp, who was an all-star in his own right. But Pipp was getting old. He was in his early 30s when Gehrig signed with the Yankees. But Gehrig spent the first 2 years of his baseball career in the minor leagues learning the finer points of the game. And he was a big guy and a great athlete, great football player and everything. He could have done a lot of different sports. But he was in baseball. And he's a legend in baseball. And so we remember him, at least I'm remembering him based on this article and the fact that the All-Star Game will be played tomorrow night. Here's something to think about. In Gehrig's entire career with the Yankees, which was from 1923 to 1939, 16 years, he earned $361,000 total over that period of time. And he was the first ball player, the first athlete to have his picture on a Wheaties box. The man would have been a billionaire if he was playing today. So if you're interested in some of his other accomplishments, you can look him up. Lew Gehrig, great player. So have a wonderful day. And I hope I sparked your interest in the All-Star Game, although I'm not interested in it. Bye.